I was talking to a guy at camp, and he's going through a really hard time. Just a drastic change in direction in his life. Wife wants a divorce. As we're talking through it, like at one point he's like, I might have to sell the business. I'll have to work at Home Depot just to pay child support. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I just can't figure out, he's like, I'm a smart guy. I think about it, but I just can't figure out what to do. I said, if I was in your situation, I know what I would do. And he was like, what? And I said, I would start walking. And he's like, well, what do you mean? And I said, here, let me explain. This is what's going on with you right now. You just woke up. Like, you just came to consciousness, and you don't know where you are. And you're in the middle of the woods. And you're looking around, and you see trees, and it's like thick. You can't even tell where the sun is, right? But you know you're in the woods. You don't know where to go. And so what I would do is I would start walking. I would just pick like a direction, and I would start walking, and as I'm walking, I would eventually find a little terrain that's going downhill, and I'd follow that terrain downhill, and eventually I'd hit a stream, and the stream would actually be a tributary into a river, and then from the river I'd follow the river until I'd hit a road, and when I'd hit a road, eventually I'd follow the road to a town somewhere, and I'd figure things out, right? I'd figure out where I was, and I'd be back, and I'd be able to get food, and I'd put everything together. But I said, what you're doing is you're just standing there looking around, and you're trying to figure out where the town is, where civilization is, and you're waiting, trying to guess and looking around and looking for clues, but there's no freaking clues. You're in the middle of the woods. There's no clues. There's no clues, literally. You have to go and find it. Civilization, the town, the thing is not going to come to you. You have to start walking. So that's what I would do. And look, obviously there's a hint of like iterative decision making, right? You don't know where you are, you don't know what to do. Start moving in some direction, and that'll give you some clues or some indication or some immediate feedback about where you are, and you can start assembling a better picture of what's happening. If I was in your shoes, okay, I'd go get a job at Home Depot. And I was like, and you know what? I got my job at Home Depot. My aisle would be the freaking squared away aisle. And after like a week and a half, it'd be the most squared away aisle in Home Depot. And I said, in a few weeks, the store manager would look at me and he'd be like, hey, can you run these 3 aisles? They'd give me 3 aisles. And then they'd give me 7 aisles. And then they'd give me 12 aisles. And then they'd give me the front of the store. And then eventually they'd be like, hey, can you just run this store? Because I'd be busting my ass and I'd be making things happen. And I'd be building relationships with people. And then eventually they'd be like, hey, we want you to run this district with all the Home Depots in this district. And then they go, we want you to take this region. And eventually they'd be like, hey, we want you to be the CEO of Home Depot. And we're laughing, right? Because I'm not that arrogant, but I was making a point. But I told this guy, I was like, look, you see working at Home Depot as a punishment, and I see it as an opportunity. Seeing opportunities instead of seeing punishments, and instead of seeing downturns in your life, seeing opportunities, it's just going to have such a much better impact on the way where you get to. If you're in a spot and you don't know what to do, and you're not sure where to go, and you don't know where the right direction is, start walking and start looking for opportunities, and they'll show up.